been a few weeks since we were in the polytunnel, and as you can see, things are fair coming on. The last time we were here, I was sowing sweet corn and dwarf beans. They're now ready for planting. And I'm also planting this basil. I wish I could smell it, but the aroma is supposed to enhance the flavour of the tomatoes. Now they're coming on well too. So we've got one in our growing bag, one in the ground. This one in the growing bag, you can see it's doing a lot better. I think that's all the nutrients that they're getting from the grow bag. The one in the ground, it's looking a bit dotty, doesn't seem to have done much. I think that's down to the soil just not being fully warmed up yet. But it's green, it's healthy looking, so I'm no panicking, no just yet anyway. A couple of wee jobs you could be doing with your tomatoes. You can see these wee side shoots, they're needing to come off now. So you just pinch them off, we're no wanting them. And then also you can see how sugary it is. It's going to need to be tied in. So I've got my string here, and about every 15 centimetres or so, as the plant grows, then you just want to tie it in and give it that bit of support. Now, could you remember way back at the beginning, we had a wee courgette plant? Well, this is it coming on now. I don't want to plant it out because I don't want it to take up any valuable plant space. So I'm keeping it in the pot. As you can see, it's needing potted on again. But the beauty is, the polytunnel's doing its job. We've got flowers here already, which means we're going to get fruit in a few weeks, and we've not even planted the ones outside yet. Brilliant. Now, the more observant of you will have noticed all this piping that I've got around the place. This is part of my new gadget that I've got for the polytunnel. It's going to be part of an integrated watering system, and it's little drip feeders. So they're going to do some little watering for individual plants like the tomatoes or the potatoes, but it's not going to get everywhere, so I'm still going to have to do a wee bit of watering. But this is going to be perfect if I'm going away for the weekend on those hot sunny days when I'm at work. Now, it's not gravity fed, it's a pump system, so I can even use it for my hanging baskets as well. But come here, I'll show you how it works. It's solar powered, I'm relying on the sun here, there's no electricity involved. There's no sensors inside the polytunnel, so we're checking on a grey day like this. The equipment knows not to do any watering of the plants, but on a hot sunny day, it's going to be pumping out the water and giving them a good drink. But that's not the best bit. I've got this new fancy gadget which has enabled me to harvest the rainwater that's coming off the polytunnel. Now, I thought I was going to have to use some ugly grey guttering, but no. This is just a wee strip that you can glue onto the side of your polytunnel. The water comes down, takes it all up and straight into the water butt. Absolutely brilliant. I'm self-sufficient here. I didn't need any tap water and no electricity. Oh well, better get on with the jobs, and I suppose you better go and see how Carole's getting on with her tomatoes.
Well, you know, Brian, I think you will agree that my tomato plants are looking a little bit healthier than yours in the polytunnel. Nice stocky plants, lovely and green. And I think the reason for that is the fact that this is a greenhouse, so we've got better light conditions. It's in a more sheltered position. The other thing that we have done, though, is because we are getting some quite good sunny days, is we've added the shading as well. We've got to be a little bit careful that the temperatures don't get too hot and some of the plants get scorched. Now, the other job that I was doing, and I think Brian was doing this as well, is removing some of the side shoots on the tomatoes, and you've got to do that on a regular basis. Otherwise, if you're not careful, things can get a little bit too big. So just go along with your fingers and take those out. On the other side, I have to take my hat off to the gardeners here because this is immaculate. And this year, my theme is a touch of blue and yellow. Really cheerful colours. And what I want to pick out at the moment is this petunia. And what I noticed when I opened the doors this morning, the perfume from this petunia, the variety is called Evening Scent Station. And to me, the perfume, a touch of honey, really lovely. Lots of blossoms there to come. As for the touch of yellow, the star of the show for me this time, at the moment, is the oxalis. And it's quite interesting. When the light goes down, they start to close their flowers. But isn't that a bright yellow flower? Oxalis valdiviensis, sown from seed, and that was started off just in March time, so we've got lovely healthy plants at the moment. So this is inside, but outside it's time to hang up some of our hanging baskets. And some of you might remember that we were planting them, that was George and myself, a couple of weeks ago. They've been in the greenhouse and now they're starting to look quite well established. So this one is the most amount of work because it's what we call an open hanging basket. In other words, we're putting plants around the edge here And so at the end of the day, you're not going to see this container at all. Looks really rather nice. So that one's quite a bit of work. Then we move on to the one where we had an insert, a bit like a pond basket. In other words, the underneath, the roots can get through into the compost. This is a nice looking basket, and that's a closed hanging basket. That's why you've just got the plants at the top. So what would you call that one? A sort of halfway house. And then perhaps if you've missed the time to plant up your own hanging baskets, or you're really not sure what to do at all, what you can do is buy this at the garden centre, or you can send away for something like this in the post. But there still is a little bit of work. You've got to think about your watering, deadheading, maybe you might have to do a bit of feeding as well. But it's so easy, just pop that one up. That's it. I'm back at Garthdee Allotments to meet up with the youngest allotment holder, Sophie McKilligan. It's been 4 weeks since we last met up, and I'm curious to find out how she's getting on. Hi Sophie, you've been a busy bee. What a difference.
New season, so raring to go.
Now, you've taken my advice and planted the blueberries?
Yeah, I changed my mind, so I've put the 2 blueberries I had into the ground with ericaceous soil, and I bought a 3rd one as well.
Okay, so they love acid conditions. Really important to add the ericaceous compost because they really need a pH of around about 5. And you say another plant as well?
Yeah, so I've got 3 plants now, so hopefully a bumper crop.
Lots of blueberries to come.
Yeah.
The pond, you've transformed that because all I remember the last time was seeing a lot of liner.
Yes, so I inherited the pond with the plot. I never put it in, and it was kind of overgrown and a mess. So I've tidied it up a wee bit, lined the outside of it, put bark chips in, and I've taken your advice from the programme that was on a couple of weeks ago and taken the blankweed out, popped it on the side so the wildlife will get back in.
But it's nice to have the water feature, I think.
Yeah, it's nice. It's good for wildlife and it's something different.
What I want to see now is how you've got on with the carrots.
Yeah, let's go.
And you know, I think I can already see a few seedlings. Did it take long before they germinated?
A wee bit. I was a wee bit worried that they weren't going to come up, but they've now kind of shot up now.
And it's pretty good. I think that's quite even germination.
Yeah, there's still a few gaps.
But not too bad.
Yeah.
A lot better than before.
Yeah, much better.
So just going over the fact that we prepared the seed bed, didn't we? And we put the fertiliser down, a little bit warmer conditions, and then you've put in the barrier against the carrot root fly, because they sort of fly at a fairly low level, so that's good. What about the trough?
Trough was much better.
Oh wow, look at this, Sophie.
I know,
Now
perfection.
it is perfection. I mean, that's what people want to see. The 2 lines there, even germination. And you've done a succession?
Yeah, a couple of weeks after these lot were sown, I sowed some more.
Okay, so no sign of those coming through
Not
yet. And a little tip, if you were going to do a bit of thinning, although I tend to think sometimes the thinning should come when they're just like tiny baby carrots, so you can use them in salads. But when you are thinning things, say it's that seedling that you're wanting to protect, grab that one and then you would pull out the other one so you're not disturbing the soil. Now, let's have a look at the sweet corn. I expect that's ready for planting.
Yeah, I think it's ready now. So you can see I've put a windbreak in just recently with the help of my dad.
So it was my suggestion to give it a little bit of protection because you were a little bit unhappy, weren't you, with the size of the cobs?
Yeah, they weren't great last year.
And also then you've decided to put the squash in here, which I think will be good, a little bit of shelter.
Yeah, I put some squash in because they really like the shelter as well.
Definitely. So Sophie, I'm sure you'll know this, but we need to plant the sweet corn in blocks because it's wind pollinated. You get the tassels at the top and you get the silks where the cobs are. And look at the results. You must be pleased with this.
Yeah, the roots have come on really well. You can see them.
And did you get most, remember we put 2 seeds in, did most of those germinate?
Yeah, most of them did really well.
So you just selected the best seedling and pulled out the other one. And look, I want to just show you my measuring stick. Very simple thing, a dahlia stick. I've marked it out in inches and feet, but I mean, you could do it in centimetres as well. And what we're going to do is plant at 12 inches apart. So if you just want to pass that over, I think we can get half a dozen in. And then if I push that along, you'll get a couple more in. Take that out of the way. We'll get planting. That's looking good. You've got the two varieties of sweet corn in, and I'm hoping that the lark is maybe going to do better than the Golden Gate.
Yeah, we'll wait and see.
We will. Now, the other tip I want to suggest to you is I've got some lettuce here and some radish. These are going to take a while to mature. So what you could do is you could grow things like radish, and you can have lettuce. You could have a couple of rows in here because they're quick maturing crops, and it utilises the space. Sophie, you've also been busy planting all these herbs, and I know I gave you those bottomless pots for the mint, so that's going to confine them basically in there. They won't spread.
Yeah, I've also I used the bottomless pots for the tomatoes last year, and it's something that worked really well, so I've continued that.
And that's going to give you, more depth of soil, better for the root system, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, they're looking very healthy, I have to say.
Yeah, they're really good.
And something else that I think is looking very healthy, I've got a gift for you, some dahlias from Beechgrove.
Okay, excellent.
And these are the colours that we've chosen because we looked at the colour of your gate. So I hope you like pinks and purples.
Yeah, no, they're really nice. Thank you very much.
And the other
Nice and bright.
the other thing to remember with dahlias is the #1 pest, I would say, is probably earwigs. So as these start to grow up and you start to get the flowers, all you need is a pot with some straw, or you could even crumple up some newspaper.
Okay.
Put that on the cane. But have a look at it every morning because they're nocturnal. They come out at night time.
Right, okay.
And then you need to dispose of the earwigs, and then you'll have beautiful flowers.
Okay.
But thank you very much. I think you've worked wonders in 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's been a lot of hard work, but no, thank you very much for coming out and the gifts.
I want to see the sweet corn.
Yeah.
I've said it before and I'll say it again, you don't need a whole allotment in order to be able to grow veg for the house. This is the small space garden which we've created here, and the last time we were here, 3 weeks ago, it was looking very sorry, as it were. The stuff had just been sown or just had been planted. Look at it now. When I removed the fleece from this morning, I was astonished at the amount of growth. And it's because the fleece is over that we've got all these luscious veg. The microclimate under the fleece allows them to grow much faster. Now, we put the fleece over in order to stop the rabbits and the pigeons, but you see, that's the other benefit. However, now time to harvest. I've harvested here, first of all, I've harvested some tatsoi. Look at that, brilliant vegetable. It's called the Emperor's Savoy, but that is a native of China. There is one which is the same. This is pak choi. And it's, look, with the pak choi, just as it's coming into flower, if you harvest it then, look at these wonderful shoots there, these petioles actually on the leaves. These are things which you can then stir fry, or you can just chop them up and put them in salad. And the leaves themselves are things which you can steam and use along with cabbage, and it has the same sort of taste. Now, in order to keep the whole thing moving and to keep a bit of continuity, what we're going to do is we're going to sow things now as well. So you make space and then you sow. But because we've made space where we've grown crop, it has to be fed. So just a balanced fertiliser like that going into that space will feed the soil and put more nutrients into it so that we can grow more veg, because we've harvested the nutrients by harvesting the vegetables. Now, when we were here the last time, I spoke about the effect that we have with the night storage heater, which is the slab. This gains the heat during the day and then it releases it at night, or releases it gradually. So if I make then a trench along the side like that and sow whatever I want to sow into there, it should germinate faster. And indeed that cress germinated far faster than we expected. Look at the growth that's on that. That is just superb. And again, that will be wonderfully sweet and flavoursome and just right for the kitchen. So what we're going to sow in this one here, I've got some radish. That's radish there as well. Into the hand first, just like that, and then along the row, just dropping the seeds in as you go, and then firm it. Put it soil back on top, and just firm it down, just like that there, okay? And that's it. So remembering that all this you see in front of you has been produced in 3 weeks under fleece. So if I continue to plant and sow and cover with fleece, we'll have similar crops in 3 weeks' time.
Brian, I think this is a good time of year to be talking about watering, giving some hints and tips, because people are thinking about going on the holidays as well.
It's a tricky subject. We've been doing it for years and it's still a hard one to master. So we're at Kirsty's herb pallets, and that little system that I was doing in the polytunnel, you can do the same here. It's quite discreet. Just feed it through there, and the little drips of water are going to keep them watered.
It's a great idea, but I mean, if you don't have the solar system set up, then something like this, as long as you've got an outside tap, and you can get these various timers to come on, and the seat hose as well.
Yeah, again, that's just going to connect up to your timer. You can get it on for once, twice a day, and that'll just gently seep into the area that you're wanting to keep watered.
Then, you know, you've got mature plants, I think. Now, whether they've been in the ground for a long time or you're just planting, what about plunging, like this pipe, around the root?
I mean, we use this certainly for when planting trees, and so you want it to be a wee bit under the ground, and when you water them, you're just filling the water in there. It'll fill up that whole little pipe container system, and then it'll gently seep out. But the most important thing is it's getting water right to the roots. It's not on the foliage or anything like that.
Well, how many times do you see people with a watering can, and I think they maybe count to 5, and then they go on to the next plant, and it's doing nothing, really.
It's been a very good drink.
As you say, you can really fill that up, and the little pot in the top, just to make sure that things like frogs and toads don't go down there.
Very important.
And then, you know, if you are going away on your holiday, you could take out some of these pots, couldn't you, and put them in a saucer with some water in a shady area.
Aye. And then we can also use a similar technique for our houseplants when we're off on holiday.
Well, that's true, Brian, and so we've got a nice setup in the conservatory.
Yeah, as you can see here, we've got a shallow tree. We've just got it filled with gravel and then topped up with water. Your pots then sit on top, and then they'll just soak up all that moisture.
Gradually soak it up. And the other thing I would suggest is take it away from a sunny windowsill, maybe just put it on the kitchen table or somewhere that's cooler.
Aye. Another system, you can do this in your kitchen. You've got a basin of water. This is capillary matting. You can get that on the draining board. That's then going to soak up all the moisture. Same principle.
A wee suggestion, though, I would say actually soak the capillary matting when you're setting it up.
First.
So you've got the system going, definitely. Or the wicks.
I actually think this is a bit more accurate, because you're just poking some of that capillary matting down the side of it, and then it's soaking it up right at the roots, again, right where the water's needed.
And, OK, you can use your bowl again, or just a jug of water.
Aye.
Absolutely fine. What about succulents?
I like succulents. I mean, we live in actually quite a dark house, and if I'm being honest, Mrs Cunningham does have a bit of problem watering her plants on a
Don't you
regular
water
basis.
them?
Moving on, but succulent plants, we've got a lot of succulent plants with thick leaves, and they're holding moisture, so they can basically take a bit of neglect, i.e. not watered for 2 weeks when you're on holiday.
So what, give them a good soaking before you go away, and that's it, you can leave them alone?
Aye.
Now this is quite novel and quite a cheap way. This little spike has got a hole in the end there. Then if you've got, save your lemonade bottle, screw that on, and then you tip it upside down, and there's a good example with the liliums there, and you can see how that's sucking in the water, but it would last again for a week or 2.
And that's great for big pots, but you've got something more decorative here?
Well, yeah, this is very decorative. So what you've got to do is, say, use a dibber, make a hole into your plant, and then if I just put my finger on that, turn it upside down, pop it into the hole, and look, that's actually quite ornamental, isn't
Yeah,
it?
I like
think
that.
that's quite nice. So all ready for holidays.
Yeah. Oh well, pack your bags, love.
Last week, it was in a wonderful wild garden in Wormit. This week, I'm in a garden which is equally as fascinating. It's full of ferns and palms and broadleaf foliage, and it was created by Ian McClure and his partner. I'm in East Ayrshire. You would think I was somewhere much more exotic. That's a fabulous colour, Ian. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's lovely, that one.
Yeah, and the bees are on it as well.
Yeah,
So,
the bees love it.
yeah, yeah. Now, an open space, but oh, fabulous. How long have you been here then?
10 years, just 10 years past in January.
This is all 10 years.
Yep.
What was here before?
Absolutely nothing. It was just an empty field with sheep in it.
Well, you've achieved a lot in the 10 years. Now, tell me exactly where we are.
We're about 15 miles as the crow flies from the coast, 500 feet above sea level, and
It
it's
is.
a wee bit of a frost pocket. Even this morning we had ground frost.
So you're experiencing frost, but you've also got the influence of the Gulf Stream on the Ayrshire coast, I mean, warming the air, as it were.
Yeah.
And so, hence why we've got quite a number of interesting plants around here, haven't we?
Yeah.
But look at this up here.
Trachycarpus wagnerianus.
Right. Is that hardy here?
Yeah, it's hardy to -15 or maybe even less. I mean, it came through the beast from these last March, totally unblemished and unprotected.
Wonderful fine leaf on it, it really is, and beautiful fans that it creates.
Yeah.
And hairy stems. I mean, look at that. That's like the old man of the mountains,
It
or
is.
the forest, or whatever.
I know.
Tremendous, isn't it? And then you've got underplanting here of hostas.
Yeah.
Not much damage on them.
No, we don't have a lot of problems with slugs here either. We spend a lot of time feeding the birds and they pay us back by eating the slugs.
That's right.
No.
Have you got a pond then? Have you got frogs?
Yeah, we've got a pond. Yeah, we've got plenty of frogs.
We'll go in and see this one.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
know,
But then you
yeah.
come down here and it's calm, isn't it?
Yeah, very tranquil.
And some freebies.
Yeah, we've got ladies' smock, buttercups, and there's marsh marigolds, and they were all just free.
Free for
They just arrived of their own accord.
Come in by themselves.
Yeah. Yep.
That fella just there, that's a volunteer as well, isn't
that's
it?
the gunnera tinctoria,
Right.
which is quite an invasive thing. That's now banned.
It just everywhere you look, there's something that catches your eye. I mean, this is fun.
Yeah,
It's
that's,
just fabulous.
Camperdown elm.
Right, gosh, all the way for Dundee.
That is, yeah.
And it, right down to ground level
Right down
eventually.
to the ground, yeah.
And then we'll look over at the far side. See
Yeah.
wee dots of colour, the primulas that are over there. That's super.
Yeah, the dark red one, that's Miller's Crimson, and then you've got apple blossom in front of it. There's a lot that are just coming up just now. By the middle of June, they'll be probably about 2.5, 3 feet high.
This is so different from what we've just seen.
Yeah.
Right. Is there any other different areas?
Yeah, we've got fernery.
Have you? Yeah, I mean, this is so different, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite different.
Right.
It was a really bad piece of land. It was at one time a cattle shed.
Oh,
So the cattle shed stood here and there's 8 inches of concrete
right.
underneath us. And we removed it to that side, but at this side it still remains.
Right.
And that slope there, that was a vertical drop. So we graded that down and all the stones that came out of there are all the stones you see here in line in the path.
It's just brilliant because all the stones, I mean, it looks as though it's always been here.
know,
That's
I
it,
know.
isn't it?
But it's quite a damp, shady atmosphere.
Right.
That's
And
what all the moss is growing
The
over
birch
them.
trees over the top with it, I mean,
Yeah.
they reflect the light and they get this dapple shade, and the ferns look fantastic.
That one's a particularly good one, that
That's
spreads.
good, yeah. You've shown me, right, the fernery, okay, and we've had the pond and we've had the wide open spaces, we've seen all this tropical vegetation. What a garden, eh? And all in 10 years.
Yeah.
What an achievement. It really, really is, you know. It's just fabulous, right? So thank you very much. I mean,
you're
it's been great to see you around, so thanks very
it's
much, Ian.
been a pleasure.
Right. Now what are you doing now?
Well, I've got 7 hungry goats to feed, so I better head
Oh,
off and
I'll
do
give
that
you a
now.
hand. Come on, come on. Well, you could just cut this from the
I
garden.
know, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
It's one good use
You
for
lead
it
on.
because
You're the boss.
you're the boss.
Aye. You're a greedy so-and-so, aren't you?
Sorry, Boris.
You'd think they've never been fed. There's all this grass and yet they're just
And greedy.
in it.
For a tight Scotsman, you may remember this time last year I had a moment and I went and splashed out on rather expensive terrestrial orchids. Well, I'm pleased to say they're all doing well. So we planted a few in here, but the ones that are doing well, we've got a northern marsh orchid that's flowering away and it's even got a new spike coming on, so that's obviously happy for it. But without doubt, the star of the show here is these ladies' slipper orchids. This is Cypripedium calceolus, and look at it, it's just absolutely beautiful. is planted alongside a wee dwarf iris, but along with this podophyllum spotted dotty, it's just got a lovely tropical feel down here. Just lovely.
I love this time of year when the Himalayan blue poppies are in flower. This is the variety Susan's Reward, a particularly good one. And remember that when this flowers, it dies back and you just cut the tops off and it will regrow the following year. And they love humus-rich soil in slightly shaded conditions. Not so this other one that's here. This is Mechanopsis napolensis, and that is one which maybe takes 2 years to produce a big rosette, then it pushes up this fantastic flower spike, flowers and dies. So if you want to keep this going, sow the seed when it's fresh and grow on the seedlings.
If you want to add a ray of sunshine into your garden, even on a dull day, think about plants that have golden foliage. Behind me, this gorgeous Philadelphus, well, you maybe need a slightly larger garden for that one. Or, if you have a smaller garden, think about this golden leaf berberis.
Isn't that just looking fabulous?
So many flowers just about to burst open.
Yeah. Lots of promise. Unfortunately, we're off for a wee while.
And we will be back late summer.
So until then,
Bye-bye.
goodbye.